Did you know that there are other aliens in the world of Boruto besides the Otsutsuki? You might have seen some without knowing they were actually aliens, so in this video I will prove to you that the Otsutsuki are not the only aliens that exist in the world of Naruto, with evidence and hints given to us in the novels, the anime and the manga. Subscribe and hit that notification button because you won't want to miss the next video. It was in chapter 672 that we got introduced to the one and only Kaguya Otsutsuki. Now, what I found fascinating about her was the fact that she came from the moon, thus rendering her a being from another place. Hagoromo was said to have created the moon, however, he also states that his mother came from the moon, which does not make sense since she would have came from a place which her son created, which does not make sense since he wasn't even born yet. However, in Naruto Shippuden episode 461, we learn she used a different moon from a different world to cast the infinite Tsukiyomi. But the mystery is, could that be the moon Hagoromo was referring her mother and the other Otsutsuki came from? And is there more extraterrestrial life beyond our knowledge? The first clue we receive about the existence of alien life is from the Otsutsuki alone. However, their existence and actions prove them not to be the only alien life in the universe of Naruto and Boruto. Our first example will be the God Tree. When the God Tree was first introduced, it was an object of worship for the people of Earth, as they thought the God Tree itself was a sacred pillar that extended into the heavens. However, we learned from Gamamaru that it was quite the opposite. The truth was that the tree was actually draining the natural energy out of the people and the planets ever since it arrived several millennia ago. Question is, what has the God Tree got to do with alien life? And the answer to that question is, we know that the Otsutsuki travel from dimension to dimension to find and eat chakra fruits in order to obtain unlimited power and youth. Not only do they travel to dimensions, but also to planets, which we have seen in Boruto episode 15 as well as Boruto Naruto the movie. My point here to the first clue is that the God trees have conditions which they must meet before they can grow, and the first requirement is blood. It was stated in the 4th data book that the God Tree is a type of gigantic tree which grows by absorbing blood soaked in the ground from countless battles over millennia, which proves blood is a requirement for a God Tree to grow. Earth's God Tree grew from countless bloodshed from wars that ensued before Kaguya even arrived. If blood is a requirement for the trees to grow, that means that there was once blood on the planet or dimensions the Otsutsuki once visited. And where there was blood, there was once life. My theory is that it is the Otsutsuki that planted these seeds into planets or dimensions with possibly 2 intentions. And the first one is leaving these seeds to grow into a tree which they could then come back millennia after to harvest. And the second reason leads me to clue number 2. We know the original Otsutsuki are not well skilled in hand-to-hand combat, since every single one, with the only exception of Kinshiki, were completely outclassed by whom they fought. Kaguya received battle advice from Black Zetsu, Toneri was taken out by a single punch, Momoshiki struggled to use hand-to-hand combat, the third Otsutsuki was never revealed. However, Kinshiki was the only Otsutsuki we've seen demonstrate excellent hand-to-hand combat skill. The question is, how did Kinshiki become skilled with hand-to-hand combat if there wasn't anyone to fight? It is very likely the case he was forced to fight people other than the Otsutsuki, since Momoshiki and Kinshiki were one of the highest ranking members in their clan, so no one would dare to fight them. No other Otsutsuki would dare to oppose them. This is when other civilizations come into place. Listen to this. They most likely fought against other civilizations who opposed them in their quest to eat the fruits of their God tree. That would explain why Kinshiki has all those weapons and techniques, along with Momoshiki knowing how to use his Rinnegan to fight. This leads me to the second intention for planting the seeds of the God Tree, which is to plant it on a planet flourishing with life so they can use their ability and Rinnegan to massacre the inhabitants, so the blood will feed the seed into growing into a full tree in a short period of time, so the tree can absorb all the planet's energy quickly after they return for their harvest. That would explain why Kinshiki is skilled, as he is both the father and servant of Momoshiki, so it would make sense that Kinshiki would go to fight other inhabitants of planets with his dimensional jutsu in order to prepare planets for Momoshiki, who will then harvest the trees as it reaches the time to do so. My theory of Otsutsuki planting god trees is proven correct in the Boruto novel, where Momoshiki said on Earth, and I quote, "We should be able to plant the divine tree again." Another theory is that it is very possible that not all alien life they have encountered are intelligent, as Momoshiki states in the novel, and I quote, "The divine tree has been cut down and Kaguya is nowhere to be seen. It looks like the things of this planet have somehow gained unnecessary intelligence," end quote. This is a clear hint or indication that they have encountered intelligent life in other dimensions and worlds before. I could say with absolute certainty that Kaguya's dimension does not really belong to her, as she has in the past traveled to search for a god tree in the same way Momoshiki and Kinshiki have done. It is very likely she just found the dimensions which she claimed as hers on her search for a god tree. More proof are structures found in Kaguya's dimensions, which were possibly built by civilizations who used to live on the planet before they either abandoned it due to their extreme weather conditions, or they died out before Kaguya found and claimed what was left, which could be the castle structures we see in the volcano and ice dimensions. Also, Sasuke did find scrolls talking about her plans to raise an army to deal with Momoshiki and Kinshiki, which was not written in any language Sasuke knew. Even his Rinnegan could not decipher the text written on there, as it was explained the Rinnegan deciphers text by recognizing patterns. These ones were unknown, so it could either be that it is in a completely different alien language or Otsutsuki language. Dimensions do not belong to anyone, not unless you were the one who created them. For example, Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan actually opens a dimension. We don't know whether the dimension belongs to his Mangekyo Sharingan, whether his Mangekyo Sharingan created that dimension, or whether his Mangekyo Sharingan is actually locked to that dimension and transfers him to that dimension at his will. We don't know the answer to that. It's been stated that the Otsutsuki traveled to dimensions to look for fruit to harvest for thousands of years. This is what they have been doing for a very long time. With this statement being made, it is easy to assume there are countless dimensions out there for people to explore, just like Momoshiki and Kinshiki have been doing for a very long period. The Nue could be a huge example of living in another dimension. It lives in a dimension which can only be accessed using the Gozu Tenno, Boruto's Eye, or any form of space-time ninjutsu, meaning dimensions do not belong to anyone. It just so happens anyone who sets their foot inside the dimension first can claim it as theirs, probably like Kaguya did, unless she created all those dimensions by herself. Now, speaking of the Nue could have been an extraterrestrial creature or an alien from another world. As we can see, it already has its dimension. The uniqueness about the Nue is that it's summoned differently than all the previous summoning creatures. There are three ways in which one can obtain a summoning creature. It's either they sign a contract with an already established summoning group of animals, for example the toads, or they tame the animal found and create a summoning contract. And lastly, they could raise the animals, then form a contract, just like Kakashi did with his Ninken. If Sumire had to raise the Niue, it must have come from somewhere, and since it has its own dimension, it is possible that it was either born there a long time ago or created when the Gozu Tenno seal was put on Sumire's back. The only thing that disproves this is when Sasuke stated that the Gozu Tenno is similar to Kaguya's jutsu. A lot of people will mistake him for talking about the Niue, however he was talking about the ability to open dimensions, which could possibly mean the Gozu Tenno only opened a gate into the Niue's dimension, thus confirming the Niue is of alien origin as it comes from another world or dimension. Now I will leave you with a theory about people which we have already seen which might be of alien origin. What if some Kara members of the inner circle were alien survivors from another planet or dimension who survived an attack from Momoshiki and Kinshiki? Maybe this is how they know both Otsutsuki and how powerful they are. What if the special abilities they possess from another world are the cursed markings that were given to Kawaki and Boruto? If you look at Jigen, his eyes appear to be abnormal. You can see here that his sclera are completely blacked out like an alien grey or a black-eyed kid, which is completely different than any other human being we have seen in Naruto. The same goes for the only female in the inner group. Her eyes are completely different than what would be considered that of a normal human. Now it could be that they are using a new dojutsu we've never seen before, however I won't rule out the possibility they might be aliens. Now this theory may be a bit too far-fetched, however if it were true that would make these characters a little bit more interesting as well as what we are to see in the future of Boruto. Have a look at why it is impossible or too late for Sasuke to revive the Uchiha clan. Also 6 things we don't want to see in Boruto and the Rinnegan Kinshiki is possibly hiding. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe and hit that notification button because there are more to come, and obviously share the video to other people who might be interested. Have a look at the videos mentioned at the end. I have nothing more to say. Bye.